All right, next up we have Jeffrey Epstein and QAnon with our magnificent, hot, beautiful dad, our fucking daddy, really, Travis _view.
So, I think that, concern over children and the horrifying things that the elite cabal allegedly does to them, I think it's really a central component of QAnon.
It sounds so fucking cool. I'm sorry. I really want to be part of the elite cabal. Like, it just sounds fucking cool as hell. That's some Metal Gear Solid shit.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, yeah, it was a central feature of QAnon's predecessor, Pizzagate. Well, Pizzagate posits that that was sort of like all of this child abuse was centralized in D.C. and this Washington pizza parlor. QAnon says it's happening everywhere all over the world,
right.
And like everyone who's like famous or rich or powerful in any sense is kind of in on it. And in fact, I think that there's a worldwide vast network that funnels children to the elites, and Trump and the Q team are working to break up these networks.
The first part, unfortunately true.
Well,
the second part, unfortunately, is so false that it's incredible.
In fact, QAnon people think that saving children from this horror is why Donald Trump ran for president in the first place. On November 14th, 2017, Q-Drop said this.
Perhaps he could not stomach the thought of mass murders occurring to satisfy Moloch. Perhaps he could not stomach the thought of children being kidnapped, drugged, and raped, while leaders/law enforcement of the world turn a blind eye.
So yeah, that mention of Moloch is a really tell that Q is kind of signaling to evangelicals. And so Moloch was a Canaanite god of fire who was mentioned in the Old Testament book of Leviticus, to whom children were offered in sacrifice.
Hells yeah.
Well, I think really is sort of an obvious question is, well, if Trump is aware of these horrifying child trafficking rings and he's working to break them up, then where are these children now that he's president?
Right.
And I think QAnon believers had the same question. So on December 19th, 2017, a 4chan Anon asked this.
Q, where are the children? Seriously, where are the children?
And Q responded with this.
3,000 plus saved by the raids in Saudi Arabia alone. Worldwide lane shut down, bottom to top. Haiti, Red Cross, classified, high priority. Q.
So yeah, so like we mentioned in sort of the Saudi Arabia episode, they thought that Saudi Arabia was central to this worldwide cabal of child trafficking ring. And the bit about like when they mentioned Haiti, that's probably referencing the case of Laura Silsby and the New Life Children's Refuge. So what happened was that in the aftermath of the Haitian earthquake in 2010, a group of 10 American Baptist missionaries from Idaho attempted to cross the Haiti-Dominican Republic border with 33 Haitian children, most of whom were not orphans and had families, in fact. So that's just kidnapping, basically.
That's just cool.
That's just, yeah. So that is like, child trafficking, literally.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Totally. Very cool. Very legal.
Super cool.
So they were arrested, and the founder of this missionary organization, Laura Silsby, was eventually convicted of a lesser charge called arranging irregular travel in Haiti.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Damn, I hate being caught at the border and I have to open my coat and there's 33 children in this.
I guess you could consider that irregular.
It's not normal, I'll tell you that much.
The QAnon community thinks there's some sort of tight connection between Silsby and Hillary Clinton. So there were leaked Hillary Clinton emails that show that Huma Abedin had forwarded news articles about Laura Silsby's case to Hillary Clinton. But that's not weird when you consider Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State at the time, and Laura Silsby was a U.S. citizen being prosecuted by a foreign government in a whole high-profile case. So
No. She was sending her a catalog.
Right.
Hillary chose the Haitian child. And guess what? She based it on the child that had the best pussy-eating abilities.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and she marked the box on the back to be delivered 15 CDs as part part of a box collection.
This side up. This side up. You don't want to fucking make a child beat up on the way to you.
Did you guys ever do that when you were kids? Order the CDs from join the CD catalog in like the back of the magazine?
No,
or
I never
whatever?
did, but I was always like, what the fuck is this? I always thought it was a scam, no?
I did it once, and it ended very poorly for me. I used my parents' information to get the CDs, and it was shit like.
Do they base it like basically like their whole business model is like people forget to cancel?
Yeah, it's like the HBO free trial essentially. Like you pick out 15 CDs or whatever, and then they charge you,
It's
the
free.
second month. Yeah.
But then they charge you later.
And I got shit like, like the Offspring CD and like
That's right. Good taste.
Yeah, great taste. And
Which one? Smash or
the first one, whatever
No, it's not the first one. Everyone thinks it's the first one. 'Cause
No,
it's
not
the first that broke big.
Yeah, it was the first that broke big with
Smash.
the X-ray skeleton on the front. Yeah.
It's a great ass album.
It is fucking awesome. Okay,
Noodles.
Sorry, Travis. Continue.
Noodles. Come on the pod.
Noodles. Yes, please.
Noodles.
So the QAnon community is very loud about wanting to save the children. And sometimes I see people on Twitter say, like, well, why is the QAnon community concerned themselves so much with child abuse, but they never mention Jeffrey Epstein? And so as Julian is going to go into more detail later in this episode, Jeffrey Epstein is a well-connected billionaire who has been accused of sexually abusing dozens of underage girls, who was convicted of soliciting.
Almost like 100.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So he's a very, very bad man. So, but the truth is that Q has mentioned Epstein several times. So the first mention of Epstein occurred all the way back on November 11th, 2017, just 2 weeks after the first Q drop. And here's what it said.
Epstein Island. What is a temple? What occurs in a temple? Worship? Why is the temple on top of a mountain? How many levels might exist below? What is the significance of the colors, design, and symbol above the dome? Why is this relevant?
So yeah, it's another one of the tunnel things.
Yeah.
There's something about, because, they're dealing with non-reality. It is very convenient that they find their non-reality literally below the visible.
Right.
It is underground.
Right.
And it's not underground techno. It's not a fun Berlin time. You can't dance all night to it.
It's literally
just kids
outside of sunlight. It just can't.
It's just kids being molested.
Right. But here Q is referring to Little St. James Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
What a fucking hilarious name for the island where...
Yes, yeah. And this was island privately owned by Epstein.
Yeah.
So on that island, there happens to be sort of this unusual small square building and surrounded by palm trees. And
it's actually a Japanese spa.
And
I'm not kidding. It's a standalone Japanese spa that he had on that island.
yeah, and
Interesting.
This Japanese spa. So it has a blue horizontal stripes painted on the sides and then gold dome. Plus, there are two statues perched on top of two corners of the building, which many conspiracy theorists believe to depict owls. And this is significant to QAnon and conspiracy theorists generally because owl is an evil symbol used by the cabal or the Illuminati.
There's
according to them.
a little fucking bar that is kind of giving you details on what they're showing, and it just says where smiling pedos can be waiting. Which is just what
very
the
evocative.
fuck?
Yeah, it's almost like a weird fantasy.
They're talking about how it's like a doctor's waiting room.
Yeah.
But the pedos are smiling in
They're
there, I
smiling.
guess. They're waiting, and that sucks. No one likes waiting, but they're smiling because they know
what awaits them.
exactly. It's not a doctor's visit. It's a really fun time.
So, yeah, Q here is implying that this building was used for unspeakable acts of Satan worship involving children. And notice that question, how many levels might exist below? So that's there's no evidence this is actually the case, but QAnon people believe that the building was an entrance to an elevator that carried the sicko elites to secret underground layers of Epstein Island where they indulged in their twisted perversions.
Literally no need. You can molest the people in the fucking building. There's no...
Yeah,
you don't need to go underground.
on the boat that arrives.
Yeah. Also, you can molest children without needing to, worship Moloch. That's just a weird added thing.
Yeah.
So the idea that there are some sort of unspeakable goings-on underneath Epstein Island was reinforced in an April 3rd, 2018 Q drop, and Q said this.
Why is Epstein spending $29 million to bury the tunnels underneath his temple on Epstein Island? Problem? Phones were allowed in. These people are stupid. Q.
So yeah, so they're implying that it's like, oh, there's some evidence from phones of what exactly was going on underneath these temples, which has not yet to be released.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
So yeah, actually, I love when like Q takes on the smug, oh, you were in checkmate this whole time thing, kind of thing, because it's like I think it really sort of reflects the kind of the attitude of the QAnon community themselves. Like they always are like, oh,
Yes.
you thought you were so smart, so arrogant, but I was smarter.
Well, yeah, I mean, you are a product of who you hang around with. So if you're, constantly just like hanging out in Q message boards and forums, you're inevitably going to pick up some of his characteristics.
Yeah. But what exactly do they think was going on underneath Epstein Island? And they assume it's something involving child rape and sacrifice, but the details and who exactly were the victims and why where these children's parents are kind of fuzzy. And the thing is that, a lot of these QAnon narratives, they take on they're like movies, and like sometimes they're like a political thriller.
Right.
And this element is really more of a horror, where they leave like sort of like the horrifying things that are really going on, so like super fuzzy, so you can sort of imagine sort of like what it is in your head. So in April 4th, 2018 Q drop, Q posted a satellite photo of Epstein Island. And it also included an especially cryptic Q drop. So in that drop, Q said this.
Where do roads lead? Each prince is associated with a cardinal direction: north, south, east, and west. Sacrifice. Collect. Classified 1. Classified 2. Tunnels. Table 29. D room H. D room R. D room C. Pure evil. Conspiracy. Q.
Hillary Rodham Clinton loves the D room.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weirdness going on there. So that line about each prince is associated with a cardinal direction, north, south, east, and west, that's a reference to the 4 satanic crown princes of hell. And this is a concept in Levian Satanism. The 4 crown princes of hell are supposed to be Lucifer, Satan, Belial, and Leviathan.
Moloch is nowhere to be found.
No, Moloch's not there.
This fucking sucks.
So tunnels here implies, again, it's just referencing that there's some sort of underground tunnels in Epstein Island. And of course, there's a sort of vague HRC Hillary Rodham Clinton there, reference there. And in another instance, Q also posted a photograph of a smirking Bill Clinton with his arm around a lovely young woman in a knit cap. And this photograph isn't new. It was actually popular among Pizzagate conspiracy theorists back in 2016.
She's wearing a beanie in terrible taste. Like, I just don't think it looks good.
And this April 6, 2018 Q drop that included this photograph
Said this. Epstein's plane. Who is she? Follow friends. Friends lead to others. Open source. Q.
So according to QAnon people, the woman in the photograph next to Bill Clinton is Rachel Chandler. Here's what QAnon promoter Lisa Mae Crowley had to say about Rachel and this photograph in an April 6, 2018 tweet.
Number 16, William Jefferson Clinton with Rachel Chandler on Lolita Express, heading to and from Epstein's Orgy Island. An Anon found some links on her. She was likely used to lure high-level politicians / public figures to the island and get them on video having sex with minors, or worse, for blackmail purposes.
This literally actually checks out.
Well, that might check out.
I mean, I don't mean
providence of
her
this photograph-
specifically, but the claim that Epstein was using young girls to recruit other girls,
Sure.
and that Bill Clinton was involved, is true.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is the best podcast.
You heard it here. One of the co-hosts reviews this podcast as the best.
So I did some research to actually try to find out who the woman in the photograph is and where it came from. And while where the photograph came from is a bit mysterious, the only thing that the crack QAnon researchers got right was the name of the woman and that the photograph was taken aboard a private plane. So the photograph was actually originally published by Gawker in 2006 and was sent to them by an anonymous source. And the source, whose trustworthiness is unknown, claimed that the woman is 19-year-old named Rachel, who was attending NYU, and the photograph was taken on board a private plane owned by a different billionaire named Ron Burkle. And Ron Burkle is a Democratic donor who had close ties with Bill Clinton.
So why would Bill Clinton take a photo with a girl that's 19 with his arm so firmly holding her thoracic cage? Why?
Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
So that actually tracks with other information that's available about Rachel Chandler. Apparently, about a decade ago, Rachel gained a small amount of fame as a DJ, nightlife photographer, and socialite in New York. An interview with her in The Cut in 2009 said that she was 22 years old at the time, and that matches Gawker's anonymous source that claimed that Rachel was 19 years old in the photograph, assuming that the photograph was recent, was published in 2006.
Roger.
So, and there's some more information. So currently, Rachel Chandler is a wife, mother, and co-owner of a New York casting agency called Midland. In February of 2018, The New Yorker published a short profile about her and her casting agency. But, of course, why was 19-year-old Rachel Chandler on billionaire Ron Burkle's plane with Bill Clinton's hand on her hip in 2006? Well, Rachel is a Los Angeles native, and I wasn't able to confirm this bit, unfortunately, but she may be a member of the wealthy Chandler family who used to own the Los Angeles Times.
She may be one of the friends.
So, Rachel has been photographed with lots of other LA-based celebrities like Paris Hilton and Pete Diddy. So that certainly is consistent with her being a California heiress.
True.
And as it so happens, in 2006, when the Gawker photo of Rachel Chandler and Bill Clinton was first published, the Chandler family was selling their company, Tribune Co., and was weighing a bid from Ron Burkle.
Fascinating. This actually tracks with some of the diatribe around Pizzagate that these wealthy elite families would gift their children to these other wealthy people as some sort of collateral.
Disclaimer: Jake is being Jake.
So there are some missing puzzle pieces here, but if I were to indulge in a bit of speculation, it seems like Rachel is an heiress to the Chandler fortune. It was hanging out on Burkle's plane because Burkle was trying to schmooze the board members of the Chandler Family Trust in order to secure a deal, and so Rachel met Burkle's close friend Bill Clinton. So, and I just found the idea that, just wealthy, powerful people were just hanging out more plausible than Rachel was an underage seductress for Jeffrey Epstein before giving up that life to DJ and then run a New York casting agency.
You're going to really not like my segment.
All right.
You're really not going to like mine either.
Anyways, there's absolutely no evidence that I could find of any connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Rachel Chandler. So yeah, there seems like just another situations where they have this photograph and it's weird, and so the QAnon community they run to like just the most dramatic, craziest explanation that they could find, rather than like actually connecting the dots and finding out it's actually kind of a boring story.
Yeah,
like the Rothschild photo with the deer head.
Right,
yes,
right.
Yes, yeah. So, but what exactly happened to Jeffrey Epstein in the QAnon world? Well, the last time Q ever mentioned Epstein was on August 6, 2018, and it implies there's kind of like a happy resolution to the Epstein story. And here's what it says.
Excuse me.
Beautiful.
Saudi Arabia, access closed. Epstein Island, access closed. Haiti, access closed. NK, access closed. China, access closed. Russia, access closed. Cuba, access closed.
So yeah, here Q is just saying that like it's like all of these ports or these hubs of child trafficking, we've shut them down, and like and okay, and Q didn't like mention at all anything sort of after that, Epstein at all. There's any resolution of what happened to these children in the underground tunnels, or again where their parents are, or why Jeffrey Epstein is a free man after committing all these atrocities. Q just dropped the issue last August, and that's it. They just didn't mention anything about Epstein at all after that.
Cool.
Interesting. I wonder why he fell off in the face of maybe the thought of actual real like real pedophilia and Pizzagate stuff is like too much in a weird way. Like the Q folks kind of like to hang out in that place of plausible deniability that it is kind of this movie. And I mean,
think they don't like Epstein as much because he's accused with Trump,
right,
of doing the rape to the underage girls. So,
but I think you're right. It's like they almost like it when all the pedophilia, horrifying things are hidden.
Yeah,
and here's like there's actually like evidence and like testimony and like it's fucking real.
Yeah, it's
real. That like that actually was like, oh, getting too real. They wanted to indulge in the sort of like the fantasy version of the Pizzagate
the more fun version where they don't have to
fun version of the cabal child rape cult.
Yeah, it's like the storybook version as opposed to having to like deal with like the real shit, because when you see that, as you'll see in Julian's section, when you see the real shit that's documented and the people that he's with, it tears down a lot of their core sort of belief structures.